My beloved child, listen closely now. What I am about to tell you will change how you protect everything you've worked for. Someone close enough to see your routine has been waiting, watching for a single opening to move in and take what you've built. Do not scroll, do not skip, stay with me until the last word. They didn't arrive all at once. This was patient work, a slow map drawn in shadows and small favors. You will learn their method in pieces, because knowing the pattern is how you break it. Keep your eyes on the tiny details, those are where the truth hides. First, understand what position means, your job role, your reputation, your access, your voice in the room. When someone plans to hack a position, they exploit trust, timing, and the smallest unguarded moments. That is their currency, guard yours. The signs begin like whispers: a meeting moved, a file accidentally shared, a compliment that feels too timed. You might shrug these off as coincidence, don't. Coincidences build into conspiracies when someone with intent repeats the same small intrusions. They will use mirrors, mimic your language, mirror your friends, echo your priorities to get close. When someone mirrors you perfectly, you let your guard down. That is their win. Expect flattery that softens boundaries, an invitation that begins with praise and ends with access. Praise opens doors when we are tired, access is the point. Learn to hear the end of every compliment. Notice who never disagrees publicly, yet always appears in private with extra information. That person is collecting your habits like stamps. Knowledge about your routine gives them leverage for a later move. Take back your rhythm where you can. Check the small technical holes: device left unlocked, shared drives with vague permissions, passwords that are old favorites. The hacker of position rarely needs code, just the keys you already use. Rotate, lock, and simplify your keys. Ask yourself who benefits if you lose a promotion, a client, or a reputation. People who benefit quietly are often the ones acting loudly with smiles. Follow advantage, motive ground suspicion in reality. Keep a short ledger of odd events, dates, times, the exact words said. A pattern emerges when you write down what otherwise evaporates. Patterns are proof, proof is protection. When someone tries to isolate you, notice the shift: meetings removed, introductions withheld, informal invites that stop. Isolation is their tool to rewrite your story without witnesses. Bring the story back into the light. Do not engage in revenge. The person planning to hack your position wants you to slip into emotional traps. Calm and methodical responses deny them the chaos they crave. Silence and structure are your strongest shields. Create checkpoints, brief status updates in group channels, confirmations in emails, a public record of commitments. Public pressure holds people accountable. Invisible agreements are their playground. Make everything visible. Trust but verify. When a compliment comes with a favor request, check motives. When someone asks for a shortcut that affects you, ask for documentation. Requests that can't be documented are red flags. Documentation is your ally. Protect your circle, those who influence your opportunities. A quiet smear campaign starts with a seed of doubt. Counter with clarity, introduce, reconnect, show context. Don't let rumor be the first voice people hear. Install small rituals to protect yourself: lock screens when stepping away, log out of shared machines, keep sensitive files offline when not needed. Rituals build habits that block opportunists. The cost is small, the payoff is safety. If you notice information leaking, client lists, drafts, privileged messages, freeze the flow immediately. Change credentials, inform the right person, and document the leak. Swift containment is the only antidote to spread. Confrontations must be strategic, not theatrical. If you have evidence, present it calmly to a trusted authority or mentor. If you lack proof, focus on interruption, change workflows, pause handoffs, and reroute access. Disruption buys time to gather truth. Strengthen alliances quietly, mentors, peers, and those higher up who already trust you. When you are attacked, allies provide immediate context that counters false narratives. Invest in relationships that show up when tested. Remember the human inside the scheme. Sometimes they are ambitious, sometimes desperate, sometimes naive about consequences. Seeing their motive helps you respond without burning bridges you'll need later. Strategic mercy is different from weakness. If you must escalate, do it with a paper trail. Written reports, saved chats, and timestamps make a case that cannot be gaslit away. Beware emotional-only accounts. The world needs records to act. Practice a daily security check for 1 week. Check who has access to what, audit your recent shared files, and confirm calendar entries. Small repeated action rewires your default toward safety. It takes 5 minutes, it saves years. Guard your narrative on social platforms. Those who want your position will target the parts of you that others admire. Post less about exact wins, celebrate teams instead, and keep future plans ambiguous. Privacy blunts ambition thieves. If an ally suddenly vanishes from your regular loop, reach out privately and ask simple questions, not accusations. Many exits are innocent, some are test runs. The difference is often the reply. Brief, evasive, or defensive replies signal trouble. When offers come that seem too perfect, fast tracks, exclusive favors, slow down. The plausible miracle is often the bait. Ask for steps, details, references, and most importantly, timelines that make sense. If they cannot explain the how, walk away. Keep your personal finances in order and separate from work accounts. Opportunists use financial confusion to claim need and push for risky choices. Clear separation reduces leverage. Cultivate visible competence, share wins modestly, keep calendars visible to the right people, and maintain a simple, public list of responsibilities. When others can see your contributions, it's harder to erase them. Visibility is a guardrail. If someone confronts you with allegations, ask for specifics and time to respond. Immediate denial plays into the attacker's plan. A measured response, with documentation, regains control of the narrative. Pace is power. Trust your body's signals, those sudden chest sinks, restless nights, or an inexplicable feeling that something is off. Intuition surfaces for a reason. Treat it like a red light on a dashboard and investigate. Don't ignore it. Plan an exit strategy for the worst case, how you would preserve reputation, move clients, and secure personal records. Knowing your options removes panic and prepares you to act decisively. Preparation itself is a shield. Don't go solo, bring in HR, legal, or a trusted advisor if patterns persist. Systems exist to handle these threats. They function when evidence is clear and timelines are precise. Use the structures built to protect honest work. Rebuild boundaries after the storm, reset access, reprioritize tasks, and communicate new procedures plainly. Boundaries teach colleagues how to treat your role going forward. Consistency keeps the lesson alive. Finally, keep your spirit intact. Those who attempt to hack positions prey on fear. Your calm, confident stewardship is the thing they cannot steal. Build a life where your value is clear, stable, and non-negotiable. They have been testing you in tiny ways for months, like a locksmith probing a door with a hairpin. Small favors, borrowed passwords, casual requests to check something quickly, each one was a little experiment to see how you respond. Your generosity taught them your limits, and now they know exactly which button to press. Shift your routines like changing lanes on a road they expect you to travel. Take a different route to meetings, vary the times you answer messages, and change the formats you use for sharing files. Predictability is currency for someone who wants your role. Unpredictability is a tax they cannot pay. Create a rhythm of verification that becomes part of your work signature. A two-line confirmation in every handoff, a short public note after every decision, and a record of who approved what will convert whispers into facts. When processes are clear, sabotage is noisy and easy to spot. Hold tight to simple tech hygiene that most ignore. Enable two-factor authentication, remove old collaborators from shared folders, and turn on alerts for suspicious logins. These small toggles are the difference between a gentle knock and a broken-in door. Train one trusted colleague to act as your safety net. Give them a heads-up about how you'll operate during this watchful period and ask them to raise a flag if anything odd appears. Allies who understand your processes make it harder for attackers to manipulate perception or rewrite history. When interacting with the suspected person, keep exchanges brief and transactional. Avoid long private conversations that can be misquoted or spun. Short, clear messages create small, verifiable steps that build a timeline in your favor. Record meetings when appropriate and legal, or summarize them immediately in an email to the group. If the culture allows, start all major conversations with a one-line recap that everyone can build on. This habit turns foggy recollections into concrete breadcrumbs that lead back to truth. Do not give them the gift of panic. If a leak appears or a rumor starts, respond with a calm update that outlines next steps and invites verification. Panic plays into their hands. Measured action starves them of drama and leaves them exposed. Secure your devices physically as well as digitally. Keep work phones and laptops in sight, use strong screen locks, and avoid using public or shared machines for sensitive work. Many position hackers use the simplest physical opportunities long after complex technical exploits have failed. Shift key responsibilities for a short while to create a pause in patterns they rely on. Rotate who handles critical tasks and require sign-off from two people for sensitive moves. Redundancy is not weakness, it is the scaffolding that prevents a single breach from collapsing trust. When the moment to confront arrives, frame it around facts and impact rather than accusation. Present the timeline, show the changes you've made, and ask for restoration of proper channels. This keeps the conversation about work and accountability rather than character assassination. If legal or HR steps are needed, prepare them with professionalism. Concise timelines, documented effects on projects, and clear requests for remedial action. Institutions respond to structured cases more readily than to emotional appeals. Present the problem as something that undermines the system, not merely you. After the storm, treat recovery as a strategic relaunch. Announce the new safeguards, celebrate the team that supported you, and restore transparency so colleagues see that the role is accounted for. Rebuilding reputation is a deliberate process. Show the work, not the wounds. Take time to reflect on the vulnerabilities you discovered and turn them into training for your team. Share the lessons learned in a way that empowers colleagues to spot the same signs and act quickly. Collective vigilance becomes a culture that deters future attempts. Remember to guard your energy. The drain of defending a position can be heavy. Schedule small rituals of restoration each day, whether a short walk, a silent pause before messages, or a simple breathing practice. Resilience is built by small, steady acts. Finally, hold to the truth that competence and integrity outlast attempts at theft and manipulation. People who value shortcuts eventually reveal themselves through the choices they make, while those who build steadily show up again and again. Stay steady, keep records, lean on allies, and let outcomes speak for you. They will attempt to shadow you so closely that you begin to doubt your own instincts. It starts with subtle comments, as if they already know what you are about to say, or decisions that somehow echo what you had planned. This is not intuition on their part, it is surveillance disguised as coincidence. Watch how often they appear at the edges of your successes. When your project moves forward, they are the first to support it, yet in private, they collect details no one else notices. Their applause is camouflage. The truth is they are tracing the blueprint of your climb so they can step into it the moment you slip. In your absence, they may test, standing in, for you, offering to handle tasks or present updates. At first it looks like teamwork, but over time it's rehearsal. They are rehearsing your position so thoroughly that one day they intend for people not to miss you at all. The key is to interrupt the rehearsal before it becomes the performance. Rotate responsibilities, keep your unique imprint visible, and never let your core strengths be outsourced. What makes you irreplaceable is not the tasks you complete but the way only you can complete them. They will attempt to weaponize familiarity, using what you've shared in trust to paint themselves as your natural successor. Guard the private details of your strategy the same way you guard your passwords. What feels like harmless conversation can become their strongest weapon. Notice the timing of their actions. Position hackers prefer to strike when you are distracted by personal matters, overwhelmed by deadlines, or celebrating a victory. They count on you being too occupied to notice a door opening behind you. Anticipate this timing and stay alert during your highest highs and deepest lows. Prepare anchors in your work, small, undeniable markers of your input that can't be erased. Whether it's a unique method, a creative touch, or a trademark style, build things that whisper your name even when you're not in the room. Anchors make replacement impossible. And when the tension grows heavy, remember, your calm dismantles their design. Fear feeds their momentum, but composure forces them to show their hand. Every time you pause, document, and respond with clarity, you cut through their shadow and expose their shape. My beloved child, the web they weave tightens in stages, each thread careful and almost polite as it finds its place around your role. In the quiet between deadlines they seed small doubts about your choices, then harvest those doubts when others are tired and forgetful. Every gentle nudge they plant is meant to look like help, but help that arrives without witnesses becomes a foothold. They will try to make your absence ordinary, a small, ordinary absence that no one notices, as if your calendar was simply lighter by design. Counter this by leaving clear, visible markers of presence, a signature method, a recurring phrase in reports, a style of slide or spreadsheet only you use. When your mark is visible across work, absence becomes conspicuous and replacement becomes awkward. Keep a running log that is never private to you alone, a short, public-facing update after major tasks or meetings that others can see and reference. This converts memory into evidence and gossip into anachronism. Evidence travels better than accusation. When offers of help arrive too often, convert them into shared tasks with visible owners and deadlines. Public authorship is a mild disinfectant against rehearsal for takeover. When everyone can see who claimed what, narratives that deny your contribution strain against plain view. Train a small habit of immediate summarization. After each meeting, send a one-line note to attendees naming decisions and next steps. This tiny ritual converts fog into structure and prevents future edits to the record. It also gives allies a short citation to counter any later retelling that shifts the facts. Be strategic with kindness, treat favors as transactions with clear boundaries and documented outcomes. When you accept help, attach a deliverable and a date so the exchange is traceable. Kindness that can be traced is kind against takeover. If the suspected person starts collecting your contacts or clients, meet the pattern with visible stewardship. Brief, warm check-ins that reinforce relationships and make dependency mutual rather than one-sided. Presence in relationships is a quiet defense that prevents others from claiming intimacy they do not deserve. Consistent, human contact is difficult to counterfeit. Harden the edges of your digital world with naming conventions and version controls that make silent edits obvious. A single, obvious naming rule turns subtle overwrites into visible errors. Those who prefer stealth find it harder when the system highlights every change. When plans shift unexpectedly, annotate why the change happened and who approved it. Leave a short trail that shows intentionality rather than confusion. Intentional notes turn suspicion into simple process adjustments that are harder to weaponize. The goal is to make the normal path visible and the detours noticeable. If they attempt to steal credit, let results speak while you amplify the work of the whole team. Publicly celebrating collaborators while noting your role in context makes it harder for thieves of position to extract sole credit without being obvious. Leadership that lifts others becomes a public shield. Prepare carefully worded interventions if manipulation escalates, a calm email that documents the divergence between what was promised and what was delivered, sent to the relevant group and saved for records. Tone it with professional clarity, naming impact and next steps rather than emotion. Institutions respond to structure. Structure is your friend. Practice short, steady replies to provocations that could otherwise pull you into drama, a one-line acknowledgement, a note that the matter will be handled, and then a public follow-up. This pattern denies performative attackers the spectacle they crave. Routine replies starve the story of theater. When trust is betrayed, repair it with process rather than speeches. Reset the protocols, reassign access, and demonstrate the new routine with consistent practice. Process heals faster than apologies when the world needs to see stability. Use your calendar as a visible ledger. Invite stakeholders to short-standing touchpoints where deliverables are reviewed publicly. Regular review prevents private rehearsals from becoming rehearsed performances. When oversight is routine, it's hard to stage a takeover. Surround the suspected person with expectations rather than surveillance. Set clear gates for decision-making and require documented approvals for any major changes. Clarity of process narrows the space where stealth can operate. When rules are clear, manipulation needs collusion, and collusion is harder to sustain. Keep small symbolic tokens of ownership visible, a personal template, a signature footer, or a recurring line in proposals that marks your authorship. These tokens need not be loud, only consistent, because consistency resists erasure. A visible fingerprint is a subtle, persistent defense. If the pressure becomes personal, protect your well-being with a public rhythm of rest. Share in group calendars the times you are offline and honor them. Boundaries teach colleagues how to treat your time and reduce the opportunistic gaps attackers exploit. Rest framed as policy is not indulgence but defense. Teach your team to prefer public channels for decisions and to avoid long private chains for key moves. When decisions. After decisive containment, narrate the recovery as leadership, announce the new safeguards, thank the allies, and make the path forward visible and dignified. Reframing the moment as organizational strengthening, not a personal wound, restores confidence and disarms rumor. Leadership that rebuilds is leadership that lasts. Above all, carry forward lessons as quiet curriculum, convert vulnerability into training, memos, and small rituals that everyone follows. Culture shifts faster than policy when habits change, and habits protect what systems alone cannot. A team that knows what to watch for is a team that will not let an outsider quietly step in. Now, keep these words as part of your toolkit. Small practices repeated become unbreakable habits. Fortify the things that are uniquely you and make visibility your ally so shadows cannot take root. When the light is consistent, the shadow cannot claim your place. They will escalate in patterns you can learn to recognize, if you allow yourself the patience to map them. First, the small rehearsals become confident moves. They begin speaking with the authority of someone already in place, using phrases like, as we planned, or, moving forward, in meetings where no plan was agreed. When language claims territory, you must answer with facts and timestamps to reclaim the vocabulary of your role. Watch for sudden, unexplained familiarity with your work product, phrasing lifted from a draft, a slide deck that mirrors your layout, a report that uses your examples. That mimicry is auditioning in public. It pretends to be contribution while erasing origin. Counter it by marking drafts and seeding public checkpoints that make copying obvious. They will test your reactions with baited mistakes and tiny crises, an intentionally missing attachment, a misrouted email, a paused deliverable. See these as probes, not accidents, and treat them with protocol instead of panic. Respond with the same ritual every time: acknowledge, document, assign, and their tests will stop yielding useful data. When they try to rewrite history, they will introduce alternate narratives gently at first, an offhand comment about timing, a different interpretation of a meeting. You must answer the rewrite with your own short, public narrative, one-line recaps, clear responsibilities, and a dated record. Records don't argue, they simply exist, and the truth prefers evidence over volume. Expect alliances to be courted. They will seek neutral colleagues and co-opt them with flattering small favors that feel harmless. Protect your network by cultivating reciprocal visibility, make introductions, share credit, and keep contact threads warm and regular. People who feel seen are harder to recruit into a quiet replacement scheme. They will test the edges of policy by asking for exceptions. Expedited approvals, off-cycle hires, private sign-offs. Refuse exceptions politely and routinize requests through visible channels. Policy is not a wall to keep goodwill out, it is a frame that keeps governance honest. If they try to paint you as difficult, disorganized, or unavailable, answer with calm transparency. Publish short weekly status notes and keep an accessible record of your deliverables. Visibility neutralizes character attacks because it places work in plain sight. When colleagues can verify progress themselves, rumor shrivels. Leverage small ceremonial moves to mark ownership. Open a meeting with a distinctive two-sentence summary only you use. Close deliverables with a sign-off that includes a traceable artifact, and weave a tiny signature into templates. These signature moves are subtle, but they build an unmistakable trail that points back to you. Keep your circle informed of process changes before they happen, not after. If you plan to vary a schedule or hand off a task, announce it publicly with reasons and expectations. Pre-communication transforms surprises into choices and robs manipulators of the element of timing. When the opponent grows bolder, their mistakes will become larger and more visible. Misattributed communications, double-booked commitments, or inconsistent versions. Let those mistakes show instead of covering them up. Your role is to illuminate gaps, not to hide them. Correction with calm clarity strengthens trust in your leadership. Never let a public silence become the field where rumors germinate. If something odd is whispered, address it briefly and factually in the proper forum. Silence is a vacuum that rumor will happily fill. Light is an inexpensive antidote. Strengthen your external validators, mentors, cross-functional partners, and clients who can testify to your competence. Build short, regular touch points with them so that when stories shift, there are voices ready to speak to the truth. Advocates are the living record that no attacker can fully erase. Remember to protect the smallest intimacies of trust, personal anecdotes, one-off favors, and private contexts. Those are the seeds attackers often plant in public as proof of intimacy that never existed. Reserve true confidences for those who have repeatedly shown up under pressure. If evidence becomes clear enough to demand formal steps, act with procedural precision, gather timestamps, compile logs, request documented interviews, and file through the correct channels. Avoid theatrics. Institutions prefer tidy cases with clear asks. Provide remedies framed as organizational improvements rather than personal vendettas. As you shore up defenses, teach your team the exact language to use when something feels off, a set phrase, a channel to report, and a quick, pause and confirm, step. Habits spread faster than memos, and shared rituals protect more than any single person can. When the storm passes, convert the crisis into an opportunity for higher standards, roll out mandatory checklists, shared dashboards, and brief onboarding refreshers that lock in the new guardrails. Recovery is not an apology tour, it is a redesign of the system to make the same breach impossible. And when you feel the fatigue that comes after the fight, reclaim quiet practices that restore your center, a 5-minute morning ledger, a brief midday walk, and an evening log that converts chaos into chores for tomorrow. Resilience is an accumulation of tiny repairs. Above all, know this: those who try to take a position through stealth depend on your fear more than on their cleverness. Your calm, methodical presence dissolves their plan faster than confrontation. Keep the work visible, the records honest, and your allies close. That combination is immune to theatrical sabotage.